Nice to see you. I am back and it's Valentine's Day. And I'm sick. I was really sick the last few days, but it's Valentine's Day. And I wanted to make a video for you. And also I bought all this pink stuff here and I want to use it for my Valentine's video that I want to make for you today, right now. I even got pink hair for you. So yes, can you hear that? My voice still sounds sick, but I still can do And for this Valentine's special, I thought it would be wonderful to tell you about my worst dates ever. The worst dates I ever had in my entire life. And I would love to make it a little bit interactive. I would love for you to vote in the comments which one you think was my worst date ever. And if you feel comfortable with it, I would also love for you to share your worst dates ever in the comments. So maybe we can learn from each other and laugh about it. After we all had to go through this like shitty experiences or like ridiculous experiences, I would love it if we could laugh about it all together when we read it in the comments. And I also hope you will have something to laugh about when I'm telling you about my worst dates ever now. Number one, this was back in Germany many years ago. I was a broke college student and I was touring as a stand-up comedian. I was having my first shows as a stand-up comedian. Back then I lived in northern Germany in a city called Bremen. Very beautiful. And you might know this tale about the Bremen town musicians. I don't know, it's beautiful, it's pretty famous, and yeah, I lived there. And I was a broke college student and I was just starting out as a stand-up comedian. And I was going on my first regional tours and I had a lot of fun, but I did not have a lot of money. That's important because that comes into play later. And I went on a date with this guy. I honestly forgot his name because if someone is shitty or strange or whatever, or if someone is not a good experience for me, I kind of forget their names deliberately. That works, that really works, you should try it. Let's just call him the guy. So I met this guy after one of my stand-up gigs in Bremen. And he lived in Bremen too. And he wanted to go on a date with me. He wanted to have a drink. And I thought like, hey, this guy seems nice. So I went on a date with this guy. The date was kind of okay. We had a nice conversation. And then I went to the bathroom. And when I came back, he had paid for his drink, only for his drink. And he waited for me to go to the bathroom, to call the waitress and to pay only for his drink. And I thought, okay, I mean, it's okay to split the bill, or if you're broke, you don't pay for the other one. That is okay, but I think you should talk about it. I think he could have asked me and said like, hey, is it okay if we both pay for ourselves because I'm really broke? But that's not what he did. He paid for himself while I went to pee. And after that, he asked me if he could get free tickets for him and his friends, guest list tickets for my next stand-up show. And I was broke too. I was a fucking broke college student. And this guy was older than me and he had a job. Needless to say, I never called him again and he didn't get any free tickets for my shows. Because that's only for the nice people. I gave out way too many free tickets, guest list tickets for my friends anyway. So that's why I was so broke. But I'm happy about that. I always like to give free tickets to nice people. But not to this guy. Because he was stingy and greedy and... Okay. Next one. Moving on. Number two. That was kind of a similar experience, but it happened years later in Helsinki, Finland. My favorite place on earth, but you know that. So I went on a date with this guy. We're actually still Facebook friends. So if you're watching this now, you know who you are. I'm not gonna say your name, but you know who you are. So I went on a date with this guy. Let's call him Tim, which is not his real name, but you know who you are, not Tim. I went to have dinner with Tim. He asked me out, we went on a date. This is a funny story how we met. We both were riding the tram in Helsinki and we both didn't have a ticket. And then we both suddenly got out of the tram again when the conductors came. Yeah, that's how we met. That was kind of, I think, a cute story. So we had something in common. Oh, my hair. Fuck. Guys, my hair is wandering off. Oops. Sorry, my hair My beautiful pink Valentine's hair is pulling back. This is like, you know, like if I would be a man and I would lose my hair and the hairline would go back. Now I know how that feels, guys. I'm so sorry. Can you see that? Oops. V2. Anyways, please ignore my hairline. Please ignore my morphing hairline here. So Tim and I went out for dinner and we went to my favorite burger place, which is the Memphis. Actually, the Memphis at Campi Center. There's also another one at Yliopistokatu, if you know Helsinki, but I like the one at Campi Center better because it's just really cool. We had dinner together, beautiful burgers and sweet potato fries, all my favorite stuff. And because he was cute, I even shared my sweet potato fries with him. And you must know about Finland that it's normal that the guys do not always, oops. In Finland, it's kind of normal that the guys do not always pay for the girls at dates. I had some gentlemen, some Finnish gentlemen who paid for me, but it's not kind of super normal that everybody does that. Me too. So yeah. It is not super normal. Oh fuck, my hair is pulling out. My dark hair is coming out. Fuck. Guys, my hair is fucking up. I'm sorry. In Finland, it is kind of normal that the guys do not always pay for girls at dates. But I thought, hey, we were having such a good time and at least we would split the bill or talk about it. But no. You might recognize this pattern from the other story I just told you. I went to the bathroom to pee. And when I came back, Tim had paid for his dinner only. Vittu, as we would say in Finnish. Yeah, without talking to me about it and all of that. Yeah, and I have to admit, I also did something then, but it was not meant as revenge or anything, but I felt free to do it because he didn't pay for my dinner and he didn't discuss it with me. So, when Tim went to use the bathroom, I started talking to the nice guy at the table next to us. And he was so nice, and I didn't flirt or anything, we just had a really nice chat. And actually we're still friends, and he ended up starring in one of my web series. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Worst date ever, number 3. Which one I'm gonna pick? Oh, I think now I got it fixed. So good that I'm not making a video about my worst hair ever. No, but I think it's not the wig. I love the wig. I think it's just me being too clumsy to put a wig on correctly. I'm gonna learn that. If I will ever use a wig again for you guys, I'm gonna learn how to put it on correctly. My worst date, number 3. It was also in Helsinki. I went on a date with a nice guy that I met after a stand-up gig. You might think I would learn, but no, I went out with a guy that I met at a stand-up gig who was in the audience. And he was really nice, but if you have ever seen me performing stand-up live, or if you might have seen some of my stand-up videos on YouTube, you might have noticed that I'm talking a lot about sex on stage. It's actually one of my favorite topics. To make this point as clear for you as possible, once there was a comedy booker who asked me if I could perform a comedy set without talking about sex. And I said, yes, but then it would be 10 minutes, including the break. And because I talk a lot about sex in my stand-up routines, it happens that some people who do not know me as a person think like, whoa, she must have a really wild sex life and she's an easy lay, and you know. And I'm not. I mean, I like sex, but I like to get to know people first. That is very, very important to me. And so is honesty. And so I went on a date with this guy. I don't know if we should give him a name, no. I went on a date with this nice guy that I met in the audience and that asked me out in a really sweet way. So yeah, we went on a date and we sat there in this bar. And I said to him, because honesty is so important to me, I said to him, you know what I'm talking about on stage, that is of course inspired by my real life somehow, it comes from my heart somehow, but in real life, I really need to get to know people really well before anything physical happens. Because that's how I roll, that's how I am. And that's how it works for me. And this guy got really angry. I've never seen that before, and I didn't see that coming. He said, you can just... I feel we have some extra comedy here with this hair. But he got really angry and frustrated, and he said, why don't you just say that you don't like me? And then he stood up and walked away. And I was like, okay, I actually liked you, and I just tried to be honest and be myself and get to know you. Yeah. Some final words to this guy before we move on to number 4. If you happen to watch this, your loss. Your loss. Number 4. Oh, and by the way, did you see that? I'm wearing black nail polish for the very first time in my life. I put that on for a shoot with Music Interview Corner. I somehow really like it. I mean, it's kind of dark. I mean, of course, it's black, but I like it. Let me know in the comments what you think. My worst dates ever, number 4. And this is really not funny, because it was a waste of my time. I think from now on we're gonna get into some stories where some people thought it was a date, but in my opinion it wasn't. Okay, let's see. It was in Helsinki, Finland. Actually, it was in Espoo, Finland, because it happened at the Finnish Grammys. I was for the very first time as a music TV host for Music Interview Corner at the Finnish Grammys at the Emma Gala. And it was beautiful. And there I met this guy. And I told several people, music journalists, reporters, I told them, I want to work in Finland. I want to move here, I want to work here, I want to work for Finnish television, because I want a network. It was professional. I want a network, and I gave people my cards with my contacts, my beautiful Music Interview Corner cards with a pink logo. So yeah, I gave a card to this guy. Let's call him T. Yeah, let's call him T. Because that is actually the first letter of his name. And I feel comfortable because he was... I gave my card to T, and T messaged me a few days later like, hey, I have a job for you. We could meet. I have a job as a music reporter for you. We should meet me in this cafe. And then I went to a beautiful cafe in Helsinki. It's one of the most beautiful ones, actually. And there's a beautiful roof terrace. It's amazing. You can see the whole city. It's really amazing. I actually went there when I made the video that is called My Favorite Places in Helsinki. You should check it out. I will leave a link in the description below. Yeah. But anyway, my first experience at this place was a strange one. Because T told me he would have a job for me. And so I met him in this beautiful cafe, and we went to the roof terrace, and it was really beautiful. And I was like, hey, what kind of job? What can I do? When can I start? And I have here my CV, I have everything, I have a reel, you want to check it out? And I was really excited about this job opportunity. And then it turned out he never had a job for me. It was just a trick to lure me there, to date me, to get to know me. Vittu! Yes. That honestly makes me angry, because it's really not fair to waste my time. If he would have said, hey, you want to grab a drink, you want to get to know me? I could have said no. And I guess he probably knew that I would say no. And so he disguised a date, or his secret agenda to have a date with me, as a job interview. So, T, vittu. Guess what? I had to fix my hair again. I feel we can have a whole comedy video just about me not being able to fix my beautiful pink Valentine's Day hair. But I can do this. This looks good, right? Okay, let's move on. My worst dates ever, number 5. This is actually a scary one. I don't know, if you're in Finland and you were able to watch Finnish TV, you might know that I hosted a primetime show on Finnish TV. It was called Metronomy, and it was broadcast on Finnish TV every Saturday at 9:15 p.m. Yeah, it was basically like Music Interview Corner. They took the concept from Music Interview Corner and turned it into a TV show. And they also censored all the funny stuff, like swear words and everything. And I was not allowed to say vittu, and when I said it, they censored it. So, yeah. But it was still fun. Even so, Music Interview Corner was clearly more fun. And some bands, when I approached them if they want to be on my TV show, they said, hey, can't we better be on your web TV show? Because we like to say vittu, or we like to talk about crazy stuff, and they were worried that the TV show will censor it. But that's not the point. I had a TV show in Finland, and I had fun with it. And when I got this TV show, a reporter approached me and said he wanted to write a story about me and my work and my show. And I said, yes, of course, because the show was new and I thought it would be cool to get some promo and to catch more people's attention for the show, you know. And this guy met me for an interview, crazily in the same cafe. It was actually at the same cafe with the beautiful roof terrace. It's like 14th floor, I think. It's called Café Loiste. It's beautiful, you should go there, but don't go there with the wrong people. So yeah, this reporter took me to Café Loiste to have an interview. And we sat there and he asked me a lot of questions, and some of the questions were really good. And I thought like, hey, cool, that's gonna be a cool article. He said he worked for a print magazine, and I researched that he really worked for this magazine. So I thought it was legit. And I thought, wow, it's going to be a cool article. And I really told him a lot and I felt really good about it. And I was looking forward to read the article. And then he said, we have to meet again because he needs to have a photo session with me. He wants to have some photos that he took. I mean, I sent him some promotional pictures that I thought were cool and promotional pictures from the show. But he wanted to take his own pictures. And I said, okay, why not? Let's have a photo shoot outdoors in Helsinki. I love Helsinki, it's gonna be cool. And that was when it got strange. Because suddenly he said, we have to go to the movies first. Because he had to write a review for this movie. And I said like, hey, wait, I thought we were gonna take pictures. And then he said, yeah, we only watched the first few minutes of the movie because I have to write about it. And he said, yeah, I just got this job. My chief editor just gave me this job. But actually he had told me before that he was the chief editor, so it was already very fishy. And he was on the list for this movie with press tickets for him and +1. That was even more fishy. And so I went there and sat in a movie. I sat the whole movie through with him. Luckily it was a good movie, but still, he was wasting my time. I was really busy, I had a lot of projects. And I don't like it when people are dishonest. And you might guess what happens next. He said he's hungry. He tried to turn it into a fucking date. And he said, I'm so hungry, I'm starving, my blood sugar is low, I need to eat something. And then he wanted me to have lunch with him. And I was already thinking, like, should I just leave? But I also wanted the article to be published because I thought it would be really good for the show. We had lunch. He paid for it. At least he paid for it. He didn't pay like other people while I was peeing in another room. So at least this. But he still wasted my time and he was dishonest. And I noticed that he was asking me questions to get to know me personally as a person. Questions that had nothing to do with the article. Vittu. And then he said something like, we have to wait for the right light for the pictures. That's why we have to eat first. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I thought like, okay, I want the article to be published. And I already invested a lot of my time into that. So I can sit here, have a free lunch, and then take some pictures and then go home back to my work. Because I had to prepare band interviews for my show. Vittu. Then we took some pictures. And I assumed the pictures were good, and I thought like, cool, now it's done, now I'm done with this guy, and hopefully the article will be cool. But then he messaged me, like the very next day, and said he would need more pictures. And he would need pictures that are more like home story style. And he wanted to meet me in my home to take pictures with me, of me. At this point it was clear that he wanted to date me, and he wanted to know where I lived. And I felt really uncomfortable with the whole situation. And then I said, sorry, I'm not available for another photo shoot because I have to work, I have to film, and I have other projects too, stand-up gigs and acting jobs. then he really said that he couldn't publish the article without these pictures. And then I said, okay, that's a shame. The article never came out, but this guy attempted to stalk me afterwards. So, V2! Yep, I warned you that this one's gonna be scary, right? Oh, my hair is also scary, sorry. I think I finally managed to put my hair on correctly. Moving on, worst dates ever, number 6. This is kind of a funny one. I meet a lot of people at my work as an actress, host, and comedian. And that's how I met this guy. Let's call him the Jesus Stick. And he really earned this name, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I met the Jesus Stick at work. We worked together, we had a really nice time working together. So now you know that he's probably some kind of performer. But I'm not gonna say what he's doing. Maybe he's a stand-up comedian. But yeah, we met each other a few times and we had a really good time. And he got kind of flirty with me in a very nice and cute way. And we talked about beliefs, about Jesus actually, because he had a Jesus tattoo. And he showed me his tattoo and we talked about it, and I thought it was really cool because, as you might know if you've been watching this here for a while, I'm a very spiritual person, and it really impressed me how he was talking about Jesus and about his tattoo and that he had this tattoo. Yeah, and I developed a little crush on him. I want to be honest, that happened. And then one evening I decided to surprise him at a gig because I was filming in a city where he had a gig. And I thought, wow, that's cool. I got off in time to go to see the show he was performing at. So I went there and I thought I could surprise him at the show and at the after show party. And let me tell you, he was really surprised to see me there. He didn't actually see me at the gig, but I thought, hey, cool, it's a much bigger surprise if I just come to the after show party. And so I went to the after show party and he suddenly acted like he really don't want to have me there. He was really shocked to see me there. And a little bit later I found out why. Because there was this very beautiful, very nice girl, and she was his girlfriend. And he had neglected to tell me that he had a girlfriend. He had mentioned to me that he was single while he was showing me his Jesus tattoo. And now you know how he got his name. And I was so sorry for the girl because she was nice. I talked to her. She was really nice because I thought first she was a friend of his. But then it became clear very fast that she was his girlfriend. And I have nothing against open relationships, polyamory, all of that. This is all fine as long as it's honest and as long as everybody involved knows what's going on and that this is an open relationship. But she clearly thought it was exclusive with him. And he clearly told me that he was single. Yeah, and that's why me and my friends ended up calling him the Jesus Stick. Yeah, it's kind of funny now. But back then I was really sad because I thought he was a good person. And it impressed me that I thought I had met a spiritual good person in this industry. And there are some. There are really good people in this industry, but he was just not one of them. The Jesus Stick. Moving on. My worst dates ever. Number 7. We have to go back in time. That was back in Germany. Around the time when the first story happened that I told you. I was still a young stand-up comedian and I was just starting to tour regionally and then even nationwide. But at this point I was touring regionally. Back then I had a lot of gigs in Hamburg. Hamburg is a super beautiful city and it's the next really big city closest to Bremen, where I lived at that time. And I had a lot of gigs in Hamburg. I had friends in Hamburg. I have one of my uncles living in Hamburg, actually 2 of my uncles, but the one is always traveling. But yeah, I love Hamburg and I was there a lot. So I met a fellow stand-up comedian. I'm gonna say that, a stand-up comedian. Let's call him M. I met M, who is a stand-up comedian who lived in Hamburg at that time. And we had a lot of gigs together, not only in Hamburg, but also kind of regionally in northern Germany. We were always booked at the same shows and we got talking and I felt some kind of attraction between us. And he got kind of flirty with me and he like kind of hugged me a little bit tighter. I'm a hugger. I like to hug everyone that I like. Especially like when you're performing together, I feel it's like good vibes and good energy to hug each other. And then I noticed that he was hugging me a little different than he was hugging the other girls, a little bit tighter. But I thought that was kind of a cute way of him to show me that he's interested. And then we ended up having a date. And he said he had some business to do in Bremen, where I lived. And he said, hey, I could come to your place and I could make you a really great breakfast and we could hang out. And I knew what he meant by hang out. M, by the way, also told me that he was single. That will come into play later. Yeah, you see where this is going. He came to my place. He made a really beautiful breakfast for me, like scrambled eggs. Back then I was already a vegetarian, but I was still eating eggs. And he made these really good vegetarian scrambled eggs for me with like tomatoes and really good stuff in it. It was very delicious. He was a good cook, I have to give him that. So he was cooking for me to impress me, and it worked. And then we had breakfast and we talked and it was really nice. And then after breakfast, we sat down on my bed. I had a really small apartment, so I didn't have a couch, so my bed was basically turned into a couch during the day, like with a nice cover and pillows and everything. So Em and I sat down on my bed. Now it goes like in the direction of a romantic comedy, but I promise you it was really like this, I swear. So Em and I were sitting on my bed and we were moving towards each other and we were that close to kiss each other. Our lips were almost touching. And then my phone rang. Maybe it was not nice of me, but I felt suddenly I had this gut feeling that I really need to take this call. And then I saw like, hey, that's a friend from Hamburg, a female comedian with whom I had a lot of shows, who actually had a lot of shows with me and Em together. And she called me exactly in this moment. And I picked up. And first thing she said, is Em with you? And I said, yeah, he is. We just had breakfast. And then she said, do you have a moment? We really need to talk. And then she told me that she just found out that M had a girl in every city. And he had a girlfriend. Or a fiancé. I'm not sure if they were engaged or not. But he had a partner in Hamburg. And they were living together. And he had a girl in every city, like a sailor, you know? And yeah, that's how my comedian friend, with whom I'm still friends to this day, saved me from a big mistake, from someone who would have just used me. And someone who told me he was single, even so he had a girlfriend or fiancé he was living with in Hamburg. And probably like, I don't know, he was touring nationwide, so he probably had a lot of different girls in a lot of different cities. Yeah, and I'm still very grateful to my friend who called me and saved me from that. Oh yeah, and after that, I said, oh, sorry, I can't. You have to leave. Something came up. And I really kicked him out. And I was a little frustrated, but I was also very relieved and grateful to my friend for saving me. And yeah, I kicked him out. And I ate the rest of these amazing scrambled eggs. So at least something good came out of that. Okay, moving on. Number 8 of my worst dates ever. And this is probably the most scary one and the most crazy one. Happened at work. I was filming for a movie that was filmed internationally. I can't say too much. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to harm anyone involved. Because there was not only this guy that we're going to talk about involved, there were other people involved too, and I don't want them to get harmed or hurt by me telling this. So I was filming for a movie, and we were filming in different countries. And the producer of the movie is the guy we're going to talk about. He decided that he wanted to travel with me and the other lead actress. And he wanted to travel by car because we wanted to film some road movie sequences on the way. It was all okay in the beginning. But then at some point he made these kind of strange remarks, like saying how beautiful I was. And once I was alone with him and I thought that was already really strange and creepy, we had his mom on set. this whole shoot went on over an extended period of time. And at some point we had his mom helping out on set. And I really liked his mom. I thought she was really cool. And so I said to him, "Your mom is really lovely." And he seriously said to me, "Yeah, but not as lovely as you." And that was when I kind of got the creeps for the very first time. But I thought like, okay, we're far away from home. We're in a foreign country. And at least I have the other lead actress with me. And I told her about it. And she said that he was creepy with her too before, but she had a boyfriend. And she made it very clear that she had a boyfriend and that she was intending to marry her boyfriend. And then she called her boyfriend to join us on set, to come with us. And he was on his way to come. I was so grateful that in this situation, like being in abroad, filming in a foreign country, far away from home, that I had this girl, this amazing actress and amazing person, that I had her there with me, and that I wasn't stuck with this strange producer alone. The best situation we had was we were driving a lot, and we were, I don't want to say too much, we were in a country somewhere in Southern Europe, and we were really looking forward to sleeping in a hotel that night, because we had a long day of driving and filming, and we were really exhausted, and me and the other lead actress, let's call her L, her name is L, and the producer's name is S. Or we can just call him the creepy, strange producer. But L, the other actress, with whom I'm still friends to this day, but I didn't ask her if I'm allowed to mention her name here, so we're gonna refer to her as L. So me and L were super exhausted after the long day of filming and driving, and we were really looking forward to just having a shower in the hotel and going to sleep. And by the way, we were traveling in a car with the producer. It was us in a car with him. And we were also really looking forward to having some time without him. And it all looked so good when we arrived at the hotel. He pulled into the parking lot, and the hotel looked really nice and cozy and beautiful, like a small hotel, but a beautiful one. And the sun was setting, and it was just like, oh, we're gonna have some me time, some time to ourselves without this guy, and we can just take a shower and go to sleep early. But then, when we walked into the hotel, the receptionist said, "1 single room and 1 double room, right?" And we girls were just looking at each other. And Elle said very fast, "Yeah, that's right, we're gonna take the double room." And then the producer looked already really like disappointed and pissed, because he intended to take the double room with me. And I was just like, I'm too exhausted to discuss that right now, but that's not gonna happen. And Elle luckily thought the same. We just looked at each other and it went without saying, and she basically saved me. But that's not the end of the story. We went into our double room, and it was the honeymoon suite. This producer guy had booked the honeymoon suite for me and him. And just in case you don't believe me, I can't even believe it myself sometimes. Picture so it didn't happen. Here you go. If you guys would be interested, I could imagine to make a whole story time about this, about my experience at this film set and in this production with this producer. Please let me know in the comments if you would like that. But only that you know I didn't really feel physically in danger, because this guy was much shorter than me. And I have some basic karate skills. It was just, nagging, because I just want to do my job. Can't I just work in peace in this business, please? And as you can hear, my voice is leaving me again. So I will tell you one more worst date story. Here you go. Number 9 of my worst dates ever. This is kind of a ridiculous one. This is really innocent, but I just want to tell you because it's funny, and I want to end this video on a positive, funny, lighthearted note. This happened here in LA a few months ago. I was walking through LA after an audition because I don't have a car. And then I met this guy, and he was really nice. And I had met him like kind of before. We have some mutual, not friends, but acquaintances. We know some of the same people. And so I thought it was safe when he offered me a ride. And it was. But guys, stranger danger, don't take a ride from strangers. But this guy wasn't a total stranger. And he offered me a ride, and it was super hot, and I was really exhausted, and I had a lot of stuff to do, like editing videos for you guys, the ones that I didn't edit like for the last half year, and also to prepare for some other auditions. And so I really appreciated his offer to give me a ride home, because it would be much faster than just walking, and it was rush hour. And so it sucks to take a lift because it's super expensive and takes super long. So I gratefully accepted his offer to give me a ride. And I don't really regret it. At least I got a funny story now. He, I think, thought it might be an opportunity for him to get a date with me, or to get to know me and to convince me to go on a date with him. And he was flirty in a charming way. And I kind of made it clear that I'm not interested. And it was all okay, but he tried to be extra kind and to impress me and to like advertise himself to me, and he tried to be the perfect gentleman. And he asked me, do you have any music preferences? And I said, oh yes, heavy metal. And then he turned on Nirvana. I don't know how many of you guys out there are metalheads and how much you know about the different music genres. So I'm gonna explain that for everyone who doesn't know. Heavy metal is what I love, and Nirvana is grunge. And grunge is the farthest away you can get from heavy metal. Seriously. And there are even people out there who believe that grunge ruined heavy metal. I said heavy metal and he turned on grunge. Grunge. Come As You Are by Nirvana. Needless to say, we never went on a date. But I still thanked him for the ride, and I know that he had good intentions. Yeah. And you metalheads out there, the metalheads among you, you will understand. You will understand my feelings in this situation. Grunge! Me too! It was fun talking to you guys, and I think now I have to drink a hot tea with a lot of honey and be good to my voice and stop talking so much. Please let me know, guys, in the comments. What do you think? Which one of the 9 stories I told you would you think was the worst date ever? And please, if you feel comfortable with that, feel free to share your bad and strange date experiences in the comments. I would love to read them, and I will respond to you. I wish you all a wonderful Valentine's Day, filled with love and happiness and good dates, hopefully, good times with your dear ones, with your significant others. Oops. Oh, I fucked it up again in the end, but I love you guys. And you know, never stop dreaming! Hopefully not about bad dates. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you.